My name is Paul.
Hi, I'm Sophia.
Sophia, nice to meet you. So I guess I'll start by asking, do you know about sort of the industrial animal agriculture process? Do you know what happens to chickens and pigs and dairy cows? What do you know?
Like half, less than half.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen videos
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen things throughout life and stuff like that, but I don't
Right.
really know fully.
What sort of stuff did you see? Can you describe it to me?
I've seen really unethical chicken factories on
Uh-huh.
the videos they'd show us in grade 7 and stuff like that.
Right.
And
Right.
but not to the extent
Uh-huh.
where I've wanted to look it up just
Yeah.
because I don't feel comfortable.
Well, so you
watching it.
understand that on any one of these farms, the animal has to die,
Yeah.
right, in order to produce that kind of food, right?
Yeah.
And it's an economy. It's based on a system of supply and demand. So it exists because we pay for it, right?
Yeah.
If everyone decided tomorrow that we weren't going to buy it anymore, that industry would collapse, right? In
Yeah.
demanding more sort of plant-based alternatives instead, right? So knowing that you are causing or contributing to that, how do you justify eating animals causing this to them?
Well, I've kind of always just I didn't really justify it in my head. It was more culturally, my family's from Eastern Europe,
Okay.
so it's very much if you don't eat meat, you're weird.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd go there, I was
Right.
vegetarian for maybe a month or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for
Oh, good.
a couple years ago. And then I had, in that period, I'd gone back home
Uh-huh.
to see family and everything, and my
Right.
grandma was appalled and stuff like that. It's just really ingrained in the culture.
Yeah.
It's not that I really justified it. It's more that I
So I think you would probably agree then if I ask you, do you think that cultural norm justifies the practice? The fact that
No.
it's a cultural norm? No, right?
Definitely not.
Because we can name a number of things that have been cultural norms in the past. Slavery and a number of other injustices, right? But just because they are cultural norms does not mean they are justified to do, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I've been to my family has farms and stuff like that, so I've been there and I've seen what people call an ethical way of killing animals.
Sure.
You know what I
But
mean?
you you seem to understand the confusion about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem ethical to take a life
Yeah.
when you don't have to.
Exactly.
Right? If we have the option of causing less harm in the world, then isn't that what we ought to do?
Yeah,
right?
I've heard it
So-
more from an environmental perspective. How dairy farms and stuff like that are very bad for the environment.
Yeah.
So I've heard it more on that aspect than
Yep.
the
It's an
justification.
additional consideration, but I think our primary motivation is talking about the ethical concerns
Yeah.
and the lack of justification around taking the life of these animals and causing such suffering when
Yeah.
we don't have to, is the basic logic, right?
Yeah.
So you said you were a vegetarian. Was that sort of motivated by ethical reasons, at least partly?
Yeah, partly. It was an influence in my life when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger. There was this camp counselor who she was talked to me about it a lot, and I got super
Right.
influenced by her. And
Mhm.
then I went home, looked up videos and stuff like that.
Right.
And
So
yeah.
what made you stop? What were sort of what was stopping you from sticking to it?
It was just the norm of having just meat at my house, and I was young, so my mom would be cooking me dinner all
Right.
the time. So, and now I guess
Right.
it's just the usual.
And yet you acknowledge that practice is probably wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think that maybe you just are struggling to find the motivation to be consistent with your moral values.
Yeah.
Although you recognize them. One way to do that is to learn more about the industry. So we have cards here that will show you a website called cubeoftruth.com, and on there is a film called Dominion.
Mhm.
And Dominion will teach you more about the industrial animal agriculture process and sort of explain the consequences of these consumer choices, right? And when you learn about the extreme suffering that they have to go through, that's a huge source of motivation for sticking to it.
Yeah.
right? Could you see yourself going vegan in the future then, or what do you think might be stopping you from doing that?
I don't think I could necessarily go vegan. I have deficiencies in my diet where I need to there's certain things that I need and stuff like that. So I don't know, vegan. I could definitely see myself going vegetarian again.
Right.
That's definitely
So
a
what exactly is
possibility.
stopping you from vegan though, just to be clear? It's certain nutritional concerns that you
Yeah,
have?
I have really bad. I have hypoglycemia. So
Mhm.
if there's just things, and it's I don't know.
So
I just
how would
scared.
how would eating vegan negatively affect your hypoglycemia? Like what is the issue there?
It's a deficiency in just accessible foods, I guess, right away. Because whenever I feel fainty and stuff like that, when I need food, I just grab the nearest thing.
Right.
And I feel like that.
Oh, so it's just about getting food quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So there's nothing then. It's not like you have to. It has to be meat, or it doesn't have to be animal products,
it just
right?
has to be
Right.
accessible quickly.
But I think that you still acknowledge that it's within your power to create the situation, put a little extra initiative in,
Yeah.
to create a situation where you can get all those products with doing that, without consuming animal products, right?
Yeah.
So you recognize that that is an available option for you to do right now. You could even start today, tomorrow, right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's just convenience, honestly, at this point.
Right. So one thing to think about, because after all, this is a social issue, and we're talking about how we treat animals. There's their perspective is something that we have to consider, right?
Yeah.
In order to think rationally about a social controversy like this, we have to take into account all the different perspectives, right? Not just our own, but the animals, the being at the end of your fork,
Yeah.
right? So when you think about it, what is it like for the animal to have to go through that decision? And then if they could speak, if they could ask you, why are you doing this to me? And you explain to them, oh, well, it's just not really convenient for me right now. Do you find that would be a good excuse, or?
I don't really think about it, honestly.
Right.
If I'm honest, I don't know. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't really ever thought about it because it's just.
Well, now you are.
So,
This is the moment, right?
A little think about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I think what we find is that these sort of excuses that we might tell ourselves, oh, that's not too expensive or not available, whatever, it's a lot of these things seem very meager and weak when you compare them to the concerns of the animal, because they're just trying to achieve their basic needs, right?
Yeah.
They want to survive, they want to be with their family, they want to go through their natural behaviors, the most basic things,
Yeah.
right? And the inconvenience and whatnot that we experience is not enough to justify causing that harm. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Right. Another thing to take into consideration too is that this sort of the inconvenience that you're talking about is only a small part of your journey in becoming vegan. It's only really the very beginning where you have to sort of learn new things to eat and new recipes and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But once you've gotten over that learning curve, and this is what it's like for all the other vegans here with me today and for myself, it was only, maybe a little bit challenging or something new in the very beginning. And then once you get over that learning curve, every day is just as easy as it was before you went vegan, right? It becomes your new normal, right? You know what you like to eat, you know where you can get all of your nutrients, and like you said, having it accessible for you with your condition.
Very fair.
Right.
Totally understand, but.
Right. So do you think now that after going through some of those concerns and objections, now could you see yourself going vegan, and do you think that that's more realistic now?
It's a possibility. I mean, maybe in the future. Right now, I'm just gonna.
Right.
But I could definitely. I'm really flexible and stuff like that, so I can see myself changing my views on things.
Right. Sounds like you're doing some changing of your mind,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Well, another thing to think about too is whether it's going to happen later or sooner, right? We also have to think about the animal's perspective.
Yeah.
If you were the animal, how soon would you want this injustice to end? What do you think?
Very soon, right away.
Immediately,
Yeah.
right? Yesterday. They want to be out of there now because everything is at stake for them, right?
Yeah.
So you have to compare that to your struggle, and they ask you why aren't you doing this right now? What would be then your excuse? It would be something along the lines again of sort of, well, I don't want to put the energy in, or it's not convenient for me, right?
Yeah.
But when you make that comparison again, it sounds like our reasons for waiting are not strong enough either, right? So that's another source of sort of the motivation and the pressure to do something about it as soon as possible, right?
That's fair. Honestly, I don't even have an excuse. It's just it's just life. I don't really think about it very often, but you got
So
my
it's
wheels
something-
turning.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. So it's something you could see yourself doing maybe sooner than later.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, on that website too, there's also a couple suggestions about the practical changes that you'll make and how to go vegan. I think there's a suggestion for something called Happy Cow in there, which is an app that will show you sort of the vegan options available in your area at different restaurants and things like that, and where to eat. A number of suggestions, but again, it's you've got a computer on your phone, right? And all the information is there.
Yeah.
Right? Everything you could possibly need to know about being a perfectly happy and healthy vegan is available on the phone.
Yeah.
right now, right? Great. All right, well, you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks.